Okay.
Hello, I'm Nicola.
I'm Tori.
And I'm Kendall.
And we did racism in advertising. We analyzed 17 photos focusing on modeling, perfume, makeup, big tobacco, and children's toys. We focused on the motifs of sexuality, political agenda, power and class, diversity, stereotypes, and more. We were trying to figure out the questions: why is there racial targeting in ads? What benefits are there for the companies? 2, figure out what group is most frequently targeted, and 3, if there's a difference between genders, are females or males more frequently targeted? So institutionalized racism has come a long way, but there's still a form of segregation that exists through a community. There are Black communities, Latino communities, white communities, and Asian communities because of in-group mentality and the inherent need to be around what is familiar. Big tobacco can then target certain racial groups. They do this in order to maximize their own profits. Black communities have the greatest rate of smoking, and big tobacco, knowing this, can target these communities in placement of their content. Here are some examples of racism in tobacco advertisements from many decades ago. In the first one, it shows 2 Black men smoking that look like Jim Crow-esque. And in the second one, it's Native Americans smoking on a pipe, where the caption says, "Why doth this noble savage rage? His wife and his child feel sad. They find, alas, a common fault, that their tobacco's bad." So this blames Native Americans on being savages because they have bad tobacco. And if they smoke better tobacco, they won't be savages. And then in this one, there is less subtle racism, and it says there are up to 10 times more tobacco ads in Black neighborhoods than in other neighborhoods. So they transitioned from blatant racism to just targeting Black communities for profits.
So I had the topics of stereotyping and power and class, and so I sort of looked at our questions, and based off of the paper that I wrote regarding the articles, I tried to sort of answer those questions as best as I could. So what I found for stereotyping is just like a blanket statement that found that businesses are trying to target, like for example, if they're trying to target a minority group, they're going to use a spokesperson who is of that same group to sell whatever product they're trying to sell, which makes sense. You're not going to use someone who's not that. Sorry, that product doesn't apply to them at all if you want to sell it to certain, target a certain group. And so that's kind of like a representation of their corporation, like what they're trying to sell, and that also goes along with power and class, which it's kind of an obvious answer, but answers our first question, which is, what is the benefit for the companies? They're basically trying to sell a product, or the idea that their product will make your life better, which, has to do with power and class, because if your life is better with their product, you're higher class, higher status, or whatever. So my ads for power and class, I had one for a skin lightening cream from a Tide commercial, and one that is from a Nivea ad that basically says white is purity. It doesn't explicitly state that that's true, but it's, there are implications, there are subliminal messages and things like that that sort of imply that if you use their product, you're going to be more pure, you're going to be more white or something like that. And along with the skin cream that I mentioned, in this commercial, they were treating this person who kind of looks like she's in blackface. They were treating her really poorly, and the person with very fair skin is being treated very well, and she's of higher standing. And with my stereotype ads, I chose one where a well-groomed man is kind of throwing like a past version of himself away that has an afro and a beard, and it says, "Re-civilize yourself." Again, not explicitly stating that people with those characteristics are uncivilized, but there are those subliminal messages. And then the final ad that I chose was, again, a skin lightening cream called Fair and Lovely. In that commercial, there were 2, business ladies, and one of them was getting a promotion. She had very, light-colored skin. The other one had much darker skin, and she was, getting demoted or something like that, and, just implying these implications that if your skin is lighter, if you're well-groomed, if you're this, if you're that, you'll be better. And that's why they're trying to sell their product.
My main focus today was diversity. I found 4 ads, and I'm going to be talking about the questions on Canvas about diversity. The first one was, is diversity reflected in these ads? And these 2, they're older ads that I found. This one depicts a woman who does not look like she should be dark. It is for a tanning tanning cream or lotion. And then this one is a beer ad for Schneider, I believe, and it looks like a hand is grabbing a boob. And so these ones are diverse. These two at the bottom right here are the most recent ones I found. This one is about an OkCupid ad. It says DTF, down to feel fabulous, and it depicts a man in a suit wearing with his nails painted. And this one is a Spotify ad that says keep your jacket on. It's the man not hot guy because it is not hot. Thank you. The next question is who populates these ads? These two right here, this one is for women who like to tan, which is funny because tanning is making your skin darker, whereas our problem today is dark skin. And then this one is for men, it targets men because men like boobs and men like beer. So. And then the newer ones depicts, this is for males who just feel that it's okay to have their nails painted, things like that. And then this one is for people who like to use music, because that is an African American artist and he's on an ad. The last question is, does the ad reflect society today? These two are older ads that I found. Today, yes, we would make food and jokes like that, but we typically would not see those on ads anymore. So these ones are like older thinking, and then these two are more representative of society today because we are more open and accepting of everyone around us, even if it is not upfront. And we tend not to assume gender as we used to. There's some celebrities that don't force gender upon their kids, which is fun. And
Okay. So I had sexuality and what is left unsaid. So I'm going to start with sexuality because when I was doing my research, it was really hard to find sexuality and race. So just for my own analysis and my own research, when I was looking up ads with sexuality and race, all I kept coming up were straight white men and women. Of course, like the women were being sexualized a lot more than the men, as you can see like in this picture. A lot of like cologne and perfume, they all sexualize women. And so after that, I did what is left unsaid, and I kind of like took a turn with my research, and I was looking at children's commercials because they are a future generation. So what I found in like one article, it said that you know, when there is like a population with a higher like minorities are higher in that population, say like Philadelphia, like there's a lot more African Americans there, the commercials there still don't represent them. They only represent the commercials like 14%. And with the ads with children, a lot of times there are hidden messages. So a lot of times white children will be in commercials for things that are viewed as like higher class, so like technology or something like that. And children of lower, or that are like minorities, they represent products that have like lower values, such as like food or cleaning products. Also, what I found was that if there are children of color in commercials, they are never like by themselves. They are always accompanied by children that are white. So even when they do get the spotlight, it's kind of like it's not all theirs. So this can be like bad for children because they are seeing these and they're probably internalizing them and wondering why they're not being represented. But in all, with advertisement, I would say that obviously it has gotten better. As you can see, like, you know, a couple decades ago, it was a lot worse. We are improving, but there are still things that need to be fixed, like the hidden messages and implications. That's it. Thank you.